Have you ever walked in somebody's house and you know it's so much peace? Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Well, me and my guys, I'm a contractor. So we had the opportunity to really go in a wonderful person's home and kind of do some work, have a little fun. Well, the person's name is Pastor Luke and Jan. So what you have to realize is that even in a situation that they're in, it's still peace in their house.
Yeah. Yes.
And that was the wonderful part about it. So one of my guys was working with me, and we walked in the door, and Pastor Luke just gave me a big old hug, and he said, "Hey, big bro." I said, "Hey, little bro, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing great." I said, "Well, what do you need?" He showed me. And one of the guys that worked for me was just like, wow, how can that be? He was just amazed that even this day and time, the church that he goes to is still segregated.
Oh, my goodness.
Seriously.
Wow.
And it was like amazing. And so we kept doing some work, and he kept asking questions. And so we went downstairs, and there was a picture of you and Pastor Larry and all the family. And he said, "Is a whole family like that?" I said, "Yeah." Why not? I mean, really? I said, once you walk in the doors at our church, you're going to get a big hug.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Yeah.
You're going to know that you're loved.
Amen.
And we want you to be here.
Yeah.
So we kept talking about it, and he said, "I cannot believe this." And he said, "This is just unbelievable." I said, "Well, let's get some stuff done, and I'll tell you some more about it later on." So what I did was I kind of told them beforehand, what the situation was. And I said, "Guys, we need to make sure that everything is just neat. We just take all the dust, let's keep it down as much as possible." So the wonderful part about it is that I had the chance. I looked over the balcony, and I saw a little lion just playing and just running around. And the same guy looked over and said, "How's that possible?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, "What do you mean, how's that possible?" He said, "Well, you tell me this, this, and this." And I said, "Yeah, but," I said, "what you have to realize is that, the situation may be there, but it doesn't mean you can't be happy.
Amen.
It doesn't mean that you can't still have the joy of what God's given you."
Yeah. Amen.
And that's the great part about it. So we kept going on that day, and this gentleman was just at awe. He just could not believe that a family had this issue, but they were still happy, still cheerful, still just full of joy everywhere.
Yeah.
It's full of joy. And what really put the icing on the cake, him and Jen started talking. And, he told Jen, he's about ready to have a newborn baby.
Yeah.
And Pastor Jen said, "Well, let me go grab some stuff for you."
Oh.
And she made a little box up for him, and she gave it to him, and he just could not believe this was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in the midst of what they're going through with Lion just turned 1, their first baby, and at 7 months started feeling sick and got diagnosed with leukemia. And so it's been a continual treatment since then. The day they got diagnosed, the doctors at Cook's Children said, "Well, go get a bag because today you move into the hospital for 2 months." So they'd been in the hospital for every day for 2 months. Then they got out. Then they have to go in every day for five days a week, every week. Now this week, Tuesday, they actually have to go and live in the hospital again for 3 weeks with baby Lion, the whole time getting chemo and, all that goes along with that. And so the leukemia, when they did the bone marrow test in the beginning, they pulled the bone marrow out, and it showed 90% of all his cells had leukemia. And because he was only 7 months, a very dire report situation. And so how did we rally out of that? How did we get from that place of devastation, from that point of being just completely devastated and mashed, to the point where when you go into their house, and I know you told us that you were expecting to feel just this heaviness, this weight. You were like geared up to, and instead you come in and here's Lion singing. I mean, he's playing
and running
happy,
around,
watching his videos, laughing. And here's Luke and Jen full of joy, full of happiness, full of the victory of God, a spirit of joy in their home. And not only that, not just worried about themselves, but saying, oh, here's an opportunity that we can be a blessing.
Absolutely.
And so gave him a few boxes of toys and clothes and things. And, it was really, really cool and meant a lot to Larry and I that you felt that.
Right.
And it's one thing, to hear Bible scriptures about faith. It's another thing to see it lived out and to see it working in a miracle form.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
without even preaching.
Amen. Thanks, James. Bless your heart.
Absolutely.
We love you so much. Thank you so much.